continuing on in the Mega Man series, it's time to rank Mega Man 8's soundtrack. Like the other games in the series, this will just be the stage themes. So you've got 8 Robot Masters, 4 Dr. Wily stages, an intro stage, and actually technically a 9th Robot Master stage, or at least a 9th Robot Master song, because I've decided to include both the PlayStation version and the Sega Saturn version of Tengu Man song. They are completely different songs. It's not like 2 different versions of the same song. They are entirely different songs, so I've incorporated both of them. I'll preface this list like I do the rest of them, stating that this is just my opinion. It means nothing more than anybody else's opinion, so please feel free to give your take on this soundtrack. So starting at number 14, I've got Dr. Wily Stage 2. Now this song sounds way more cheerful than a Fortress song should sound like, but that's not the problem here. The problem is that it's too cheerful and happy, period. At least for my taste. It's not upbeat or anything, but it just has this picnic vibe to it. It sounds like the springtime, outside, very peaceful. And again, I don't really factor in how fitting or appropriate the song is for the stage in my ranking. I'm ranking the songs for what they are. So disregarding the whole aspect of how much the song fits the stage, it's still not a good song to me. I mean, the rhythm section is okay. I do like the bass. And this little solo thing is kind of cool. But that's about it. It doesn't do anything for me otherwise. And number 13, Astro Man. The rhythm section is a mixed bag. The bass has a nice tone, but I don't really like the percussion too much, and the groove in general is just blech. And as far as the melody goes, there's really nothing going on. It's just kind of existing. It sounds like menu music to me. It doesn't sound like you're in a stage. It feels more like you're picking through options or some shit. I don't know. It really doesn't go anywhere, and I really don't have much else to say about it, because I don't really feel like there's a lot to talk about. And number 12, Search Man. There's an interesting choice of tone in the intro section. There's this warbly kind of pitch changing going on with this lead here. But then it goes off into a very bland, new agey kind of vibe to it. It's just kind of background music. There is a little bit of a callback to the intro that I had mentioned with the that warbly tone in the background. And then that intro does make a reappearance in the loop, which kind of saves it to some degree. But as a whole package, it's not that great. At number 11, Clown Man. I like carnival music, but usually I like it when it's a darker, demonic kind of carnival-esque vibe, like something Tom Waits would do. But this is more of a conventional, traditional carnival song, which is fine. But this is just so tired. There's no energy whatsoever. It feels like this is what would be playing if the carnival was closed. I would rather it have been, well, first off, I would rather Clown Man have represented a dark, evil clown, something like Pennywise, the Joker, Krusty the Clown, and Doink the Clown when he was a bad guy in WWF. You know, take little bits of inspiration from each of these clowns, these iconic evil clowns. Not that Krusty was evil, he was just a sloppy drunk. But you know what I mean. The mad, sad, or inebriated clown. Something along those lines would have been great for Clown Man. Instead, he's just a fucking clown. He's a joke. And the song is very appropriate for that, because it's just this bland carnival music all the way through. At number 10, Dr. Wily Stage 4. I guess this is kind of a remix of the boss battle music, or vice versa, whichever the case may be. It's pretty cool that they have a callback to it, and it's got a cool atmosphere. But the bells that they chose are just kind of jarring. it just gnaws at you after a little while. And the song doesn't really go anywhere. It stays in one spot. It's very unfortunate because I feel like this could have been better. There could have been more to it. It's very unfortunate. It's got an unfortunate combination of ominous and annoying. There was potential here, and it didn't follow through. At number 9, Aquaman. I used to really dislike this one, and I'm still not a big fan of it really or anything, but there are some redeeming qualities to it that I didn't see back in the day. I like the organ sound in the main verse, and it's got a fairly catchy little riff going on, but it is a little bit too much on the easy listening-ish side of things. A lot of the songs on the soundtrack have, I don't know, too much of a warm, soft atmosphere, and this is one of the ones where it kills it. It has its moments, it has its positives, but the overall production, and that's something about the soundtrack in particular that I find to be a detriment. Some of these songs are written well, but I don't like the production all that much. At number 8, Dr. Wily Stage 3. This one's very dark, very foreboding. There's the sense that there's this danger, enter at your own risk sign hanging up in front of the door to this music. Very suspenseful. There's a minimal arrangement. There's a lot of space, and there's not a lot of variety going on. It's more about mood than melody. It does have a cool rhythm section, like most of the soundtrack does. Nice percussion, really heavy bass. Definitely not a beat you could dance to, or any kind of a hook going on that's gonna stick in your head, but it's got a cool mood and atmosphere to it. At number 7, Frost Man. This one definitely fits the stage. It sounds cold. It has more of a cool sound, coolness in terms of temperature sound than, say, Freeze Man from Mega Man 7. But I wouldn't say I like it as much. The main riff is pretty decent, but I'm not really big on the second half of the song. The bass is awesome though, really slappy. I do like that bass. I like, again, going back to the whole rhythm section being a strong point of the soundtrack. But as much as I do like that aspect of it, I do think at the end of the day I would have preferred something slower and more deliberate to fit the song better. I feel like it's freezing, but that the sun is going to come out and warm the place up soon. Going back to what I was saying about the atmosphere and the vibe that you get from a lot of these songs on the soundtrack, this is another one where there's something about it that just kind of holds it back a bit. At number 6, the intro stage. This has a really cool loop going on during the intro. It's got this reverb to it, and it stays in the background throughout as the melody kicks in, and it sounds really well together. It meshes well. The end section is alright too. It's not as good as the first 2 sections, but as a whole package, it's a pretty strong song. Particularly, I like the main lead riff in the first verse. Not a classic, but a solid piece of music. At number 5, Tengu Man PlayStation version. This was really tough to decide which version of Tengu Man I like more. I think that this version, the PlayStation version, has maybe the hookiest riff in the game. It kicks off right off the bat with it, and it stays in your head. I don't think any riff stays in my head more than this one does. But the second section, I don't know, it doesn't follow up the first section too well. It kind of acts more like a placeholder to go back into the main verse. I think it complements it well, but I would have rather have there been one more section maybe to balance it up even further. Just add a little bit more meat to the bone. At number 4, Tengu Man Sega Saturn version. I swear, I bounced back and forth between numbers 4 and 5, even right up until the point when I started fucking recording this. I didn't know which way I wanted to go. The thing about the PlayStation version is it has a very hooky, catchy riff, more so than probably any other song on the soundtrack. And the Saturn version has this synth lead that's, I don't know, I find it a little bit too on the airy side of things. Doesn't stab enough. But the refrain in this song is really good. It's one of my favorite sections throughout the whole soundtrack. I never had a Sega Saturn or played the Saturn version. I've only listened to it, so I don't have really any experience playing the game to this song. But I do find Tengu Man or Tengu Men collectively to be a good batch of songs. I don't know why they didn't have these as the Search Man songs, because then you have the Two-Headed Robot Master and you have 2 songs. And I don't even know why there even were 2 different songs for a particular Robot Master on 2 different versions of the game. I've never seen that before in any other Mega Man game, and really for that matter, too many other games at all where there's multiple ports of the same game. It doesn't, I don't know, if there's an explanation out there, please let me know. But I say that I buy a mini micro hair, and maybe even just for today, I'll put Tengu Man's Saturn version ahead of the PlayStation version. At number 3, Grenade Man. This is a very straightforward, conventional, garden variety Mega Man type of a song. If you listen to the 8-bit versions of these songs, of this whole soundtrack, this one sounds more like it belongs in an earlier Mega Man game than any of the rest of them. It's probably the closest, as far as songwriting wise, it definitely has a classic Mega Man type of vibe going on, just in terms of the structure, the riffs, the whole package. Not too catchy, not too hooky, but just good, just solid riffs in the melody. And then the bass, much like Frost Man's, has a very slappy, funky ass bass going on, and I think the slap bass sounds a lot better suited to Grenade Man's than Frost Man's. So I really do dig the rhythm section here. The whole thing is just a good, solid piece of music, and I do enjoy the fact that it sounds like a classic Mega Man song. There needed to be one in the soundtrack that paid homage to the old games. At number 2, Dr. Wily Stage 1. Now, I know a lot of people probably just hate this song in association with the stage that it is a part of. Listening to this reminds us all of the god-awful, annoying, fucking slide, jump level. And I know it's funny because that whole like mini-game mechanic, whatever, is actually in Frostman's song too. But it's nowhere near as fucking irritating and difficult and just entirely based on memorization. I'm not going to get into a rant about the stage, but I'm able to separate the song from the stage, and I can still dig the song. The stage might be the reason why it's at number 2 and not number 1, but I don't think so. I think that I have it where it belongs. Such a dark and creepy rhythmic synth that's going on. It's got some nice breakbeat percussion. Even though it kind of sounds like a typewriter, I like it. And it's got a really cool little organ solo in there. It's too bad that it's associated with a horrible, horrible stage. And also, it doesn't fit either. I mean, this should have been a more fast-paced song with this stage. And preferably something that sucked, so we wouldn't have to have a song ruined for a lot of people. I would have actually liked this to have been the final stage a little bit more. But I do like it a lot. There aren't many songs of this ilk in Mega Man music history. So I'm glad that it's in there for variety's sake, and also for the sake of the soundtrack too, to kind of separate it from a lot of the calmer, peaceful music that encompasses a lot of the soundtrack. Speaking of deviating from the soundtrack, at number 1 is Sword Man. I love everything about this song from start to finish. I love the Eastern theme. The drums have a really cool, deep, reverb, acoustic drum sound, and it's got this choppy pattern to it. The bass sounds menacing, and I also love the creepy noise in the background. This one was produced excellently. It's not catchy or hooky either, but it's something I can listen to for a long period of time and not get tired of it. And like I had mentioned, it deviates from the majority of the soundtrack, which is a good thing. So, quick recap of the list. At number 14, I have Dr. Wily Stage 2. Number 13, Astro Man. Number 12, Search Man. Number 11, Clown Man. Number 10, Dr. Wily Stage 4. Number 9, Aquaman. Number 8, Dr. Wily Stage 3. Number 7, Frost Man. Number 6, Intro Stage. Number 5, Tengu Man PlayStation version. Number 4, Tengu Man Sega Saturn version. Number 3, Grenade Man. Number 2, Dr. Wily Stage 1. And number 1, Sword Man. So, what did you think of the list? What was your opinion? What songs did you like? What songs did you not like? Etc., etc. So that'll wrap up this ranking the soundtrack.